My name is Abby Kotecki, and I believe that racism is still a problem. I grew up in a really small hometown, and I loved it there, but I also knew that a lot of people were very close-minded. Um, it wasn't a very diverse area, and the majority of people who went to my high school and who were in my community were white. There was only a handful of kids in my high school that weren't white, and I think that this might be a reason why, but I know that racism in my community was a topic that was very hushed. It wasn't very discussed in the community, and it seemed like most people were very ignorant about it. I myself did not know much about the topic of race before I came to college. I knew that it was bad and I knew that it was an issue, but a lot of people in my hometown seemed to agree that the issue of racism was over. Looking back now, I understand that a lot of people did not know that racism was an issue because they don't see it a lot in our hometown. But I also do remember in high school a lot of very ignorant remarks by peers. I had peers say that they were racist and they were proud of it to me. And I know that a lot of people just really did not know about the topics of race and what was going on in the world. And because of that, there was not a lot of good knowledge on the issue. I think coming to college for me was a bit of a shock because the topic of race was so openly discussed in the city of Madison, where I go to school, and it was not discussed at all in my hometown. I think I really learned a lot in that time transitioning into college because I got to see the conversation of race and I got to become an active participant in it and learn. I think that people in my hometown, if they were given that opportunity, probably would be able to understand more about the systemic issues that are part of racism and how it affects people every day. I think a really pivotal moment for me in this conversation was when I went to a Black Lives Matter march the last fall. When I came here as a freshman, it was right in the midst of the Ferguson issue, and after that, the Tony Robinson shooting occurred. So I became more aware of these issues than I ever would have if I was back home. And I learned to have a voice in it. But I didn't know that much about Black Lives Matter movement, so I wanted to join this march to learn. And it was a very eye-opening experience for me. I feel like it really hit home for me that this affects people in horrible ways every day. And it really just showed to me how white privilege really does exist. Because I think I really got that in my hometown. There is a lot of white privilege, and that is probably the reason why racism isn't discussed anymore, because it doesn't affect people in their daily lives like it does other people. And for me, I just realized how privileged I was. I think that in my journey through learning about race and growing, that experience really helped shape my beliefs and my knowledge of racism today. And I also know now that the conversation of race is so important to have out with your community in public. I think that that's one of the imperative ways to make people aware of these issues that they might not actually be aware of normally. And because of this, I'm Abby, and my story challenges the belief that race is no longer an issue in this country.